Hey everyone, I wanted to do a shorter video today and update you guys on some of the current goings on in Arctic news studies and do a video of myself and my face before I cut all my hair at the end of the summer. So there was a study that came out in the journal Nature Climate Change that was reported by news sources such as the LA Times that notes that the Arctic Ocean may absorb less CO2 than projected due to coastal erosion. So generally, for people that really don't pay attention, permafrost is soil that if you dig a shovel down a spade or 2 or 3 feet deep, there's still regular soil that grows grass and other type of plants with like root formations. And then under that, it's just frozen solid ground mixed with ice. Kind of looks like chocolate ice cream with a bad freezer burn. And that soil in the summer, when the temperatures were 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, stayed cool for the most part. But now that it's 70, 80, 90 Fahrenheit in the Arctic, it's really not staying cool anymore. So that permafrost soil is melting. And there was a kind of feedback relationship with the coastal sea ice, that it was steadfast, it was frozen onto the shore. It was kept cool by the frozen soil cooled the ice inversely back and forth, and now that it's too warm, there's no coastal ice and the soil is too warm, and that feedback loop is building upon itself. It's warming the soil and it's warming the ocean. Fun stuff. So now that there isn't that coastal ocean barrier of sea ice, waves and storms that are also more frequent in the Arctic are causing this coastal erosion that's preventing the Arctic Ocean from absorbing as much CO2. So fun things to note from this article: there's 2.5 times more carbon in the permafrost than there is in the atmosphere. So for some reason, we got into an abrupt warming point where in the next couple of years, all the permafrost melted, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere would double. And I don't know how well that would go. The Arctic is warming 3 to 4 times faster than the rest of the world. Most of us already knew that. Here's an interesting factor. 1 degree Celsius of warming equals a potential increase of 1 to 2 million tons of CO2 per year if this feedback loop does happen. And that means if the Arctic Ocean isn't able to absorb as much CO2. And that emission only equates to 0.1% of human emissions. So we're pumping all the carbon out. Mainly the billionaires and the oligarch class running the show, but we can get into that in a different rant. Also, I wanted to touch on briefly a couple things mentioned by Nature Bats Last. A lot of great news source from the NBL team. Definitely would recommend them. Like, subscribe, all that. Like, subscribe, share this if you feel like it too. If you don't, whatever. So a recent video from NBL discussed something that came out of MIT News, a study that weaker ocean circulation could enhance CO2 buildup in the atmosphere. So weaker ocean circulation here makes me think of AMOC and how that's slowing down. That could just lead to CO2 buildup, and CO2 buildup is going to lead to temperature rise and greenhouse gas effect. So this is kind of distancing doomers maybe a little bit from the notion that AMOC's going to save us or cool Europe. I'm not really on board with that too much, but I know a lot of people have been posting about it. Could be wrong about that. I've been wrong before, but I don't really know. So according to that, what NBL was reporting from that study, deep oceans are having trouble storing carbon. They're not reliable for future circulation change. And that has a lot to do with, as Jim Mass has mentioned, the stratification in the oceans is changing the mixing and the circulation levels, which is allowing heat to transfer way faster into the deeper ocean, which is now, as studies are showing, proving dangerous, as the oceans are not able to store the CO2 we once thought they would in previous studies. So another thing I wanted to reference was an older video NBL did a couple months ago about the Antarctic circumpolar current and how that is a current that churns 6 billion cubic feet per second. And a geochemist at Columbia stated that it's the mightiest and fastest on the planet, most important current for the Earth climate system. Stronger Antarctic circumpolar current equals more warm and deep water mixing. So there are other factors at play in the oceans besides just the AMOC. And as I've mentioned before, Jim Massa has been talking about this too on Science Talk with Jim Massa on his YouTube channel. So just some interesting things. Oh, and some data points for you guys, for you data doomers. The Arctic is fourth still with extent, 4.75 million kilometers squared. The first lowest is 4.23, 2012. So that's only a 520,000 kilometer square difference. That's not really much. Also, globally, sea ice extent is second lowest, 21.33 million kilometers. Only 550 kilometers above last year's record low global extent. The Antarctic is also second lowest, 16.58 million kilometers squared. And last year's 2023 record lowest was 15.66 million kilometers squared. The peak for last year was September 7th, and it reached a total of 16.99 million kilometers squared. So remains to be seen in the next couple of weeks whether our peak doesn't go as high. You'll start seeing in news headlines that we've reached a new record low for Antarctic ice extent in like 2-3 weeks. And people with climate doomers and non-doomer climate people will start posting about that like 2 weeks after I just told you. So I don't know, who knows. Hope you like this. This is a short one for y'all. Bye.